Let's talk about SDK pricing. It's a topic that can give even the most experienced developer a headache, right? We've all heard the horror stories. So today, we're going to demystify this complex and sometimes kind of terrifying world of modern SDK pricing. We'll use the FutureForge 2026 model as our guide to really pull back the curtain and see what's going on.
I mean, this is the question that keeps founders awake at 3 a.m. You push a new feature, people love it, it takes off, and then, bam! You get hit with a 5-figure API bill you never ever saw coming. This isn't just some hypothetical fear, it is a very real threat.
And look, this isn't just some spooky story we tell. No, it's real. A recent Forbes report found that a staggering 45% of AI startups fail because of runaway cloud and API costs. Just let that sink in. Nearly half, almost half of these innovative companies are getting knocked out by a single, often preventable problem. It's a silent startup killer, but it really doesn't have to be.
So how do we even get here? Well, this API billing nightmare didn't just pop up overnight. The seeds were planted years ago. Let's take a quick look at the history here to understand how we got to a place where scaling your success could actually bankrupt you.
Before 2023, the pricing world was like an exclusive club with these massive, flat-rate enterprise licenses that locked pretty much everyone out. Then, in 2024 and 2025, the walls came down with pay-as-you-go models. It sounded amazing, right? But it created a whole new kind of chaos with bills that were just all over the place. And that's what's led us to right now, in 2026, where there's this huge demand for something better, something predictable, a hybrid model.
All of that demand has forced a huge shift in how tech companies are even thinking about pricing. The focus is slowly moving away from just charging you for every little thing and more towards a totally new philosophy, one built on developer trust and actually encouraging innovation.
And you know, it's not just about making developers happy. It's way smarter than that. It's a fundamental business strategy. This quote from TechCrunch just nails it. Companies are finally realizing that, to win, they have to empower people to experiment and build without being terrified of the bill. A generous free tier isn't a perk anymore. It's basically the cost of entry.
And that brings us right to the FutureForge model. It is a perfect example of this new hybrid approach in action. So let's get into it and break down exactly how it's all structured.
This table gives us a great bird's-eye view. You can see 3 really distinct tiers, each one designed for a specific kind of person. The hobbyist tier, that's all about free experimentation. The Pro SaaS tier is for startups that need to grow predictably. And Enterprise, well, that's for huge companies where compliance is everything. The key here is that the cost lines up directly with what each user actually needs.
So let's start with that hobbyist tier. FutureForge gives you a whopping 100,000 GB seconds of compute, totally free. This is a huge deal. For solo developers or researchers, this gives you a real runway to test and build out your ideas without spending a single penny. Now for the Pro tier. And for all you sauce founders out there, this is where the magic really happens. With a capped monthly fee, you know your maximum cost right up front. Period. You can actually calculate your profit margins with confidence. No more waking up in a cold sweat to check that terrifying overage bill. This is what financial predictability looks like.
And for the Enterprise tier, the game completely changes again. Here, the focus is all about rock-solid reliability. A 99.9% uptime SLA isn't just a promise on a website. It's a contract. It's a guarantee. And for mission-critical ops in places like healthcare or finance, that's absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, so we've seen the bright side of the FutureForge model, but we all know the devil is always in the details. Any SDK can have potential hidden costs. A good pricing model isn't about trying to hide them. It's about making them totally visible so you can actually control them. And here they are. It's never just about the compute, is it? You've got to account for data storage and every single database query at 10 cents a gig. And you really have to watch out for inefficient logging. $1 per gigabyte might not sound like a lot, but imagine a popular app with 1 million users. One tiny logging error could explode into a massive, unexpected bill. These are the gotchas that sink budgets.
But here's the good news. You are not powerless. You can totally control these costs. This is the actionable part. First, go through your code and audit your logging. Second, see if you can shift some of your workloads from the cloud to cheaper edge compute. And third, and this is so important, go into your dashboard and set a hard billing cap. This action alone puts you right back in the driver's seat.
So we've seen how to get a handle on the costs. Now let's bring it all together and talk about what this really means for your business. Let's talk about your actual return on investment.
First off, let's quickly demystify this core metric. When you see GB second, don't let the jargon scare you off. Just think of it like your utility bill. You pay for how much electricity you use and for how long. A GB second is the exact same idea, but for compute power. Understanding that is the key to understanding exactly what you're paying for. This comparison slide pretty much sums up the whole thing. On the left, you've got the old world, murky billing, high risk, and just completely unpredictable. On the right, you have the new model, the FutureForge way, a transparent hybrid structure, controlled risk, and high financial predictability. The choice becomes, well, pretty obvious when you see it laid out like this.
And that really just leaves us with one final crucial question to think about. Your tech stack shouldn't be a source of financial anxiety. It should be the engine of your growth. So take a good, hard look at your tools, your APIs, your SDKs, and ask yourself, are they actually built to help you scale, or are they just a ticking time bomb?